presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
This Diamondbacks homestand off to a terrific start. 3-1 on the homestand after last night's win over the Padres. And San Diego is in again tonight as the Diamondbacks look to improve their record at home this year to 10-2. We're set for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs and the Padres, the second of a four-game set. And for the second night in a row, we have a rematch of a pitching matchup from last week in San Diego. Last night, Zack Greinke got his revenge on Jhoulys Chacín. And Bob, tonight, it's Patrick Corbin's turn against Clayton Richard.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to watch guys when they face the same opponent twice in a week. We saw Zack Greinke pitch two great games against the Padres. Jhoulys Chacín really good in San Diego, not so good here last night. Patrick Corbin was outstanding in his last start against the Padres. Gave up 3 earned runs in 6 innings, but his offense really let him down in that ballgame.
Yeah, the D-backs only scored 1 run in that ball game because Clayton Richard, one of the best ground ball pitchers in baseball, was outstanding. He gets the ball again tonight.
Now, given the numbers I gave you on Jhoulys Chacín and the adjustment that the Diamondbacks offense made against him, you'd like to see a similar adjustment against Richard tonight. He was outstanding in San Diego. Hopefully the offense will figure him out here tonight.
We're set for the first pitch here. Game 2 of a 4-game set. The D-backs and the Padres from Chase Field. More coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Tire Pros. Everything rotates around you. By Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos. Lone Butte, Bequiva, and Wild Horse Pass. By Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run. At Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Valley Honda dealer, where you get more standard features for less money. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Welcome to the Gig Life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Just settling in here at Chase Field. The roof is all opened up. Glad you're with us. We're set for Diamondbacks baseball, the D-backs, and the San Diego Padres. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. How about a hug? Field panels closed. A very comfortable 83 degrees under clear skies here in downtown Phoenix. We're at Chase Field for the D-backs and the Padres. Diamondbacks 13-8 this year. The Rockies, the only team in baseball with more wins at the start of play today. They're up against the San Diego Padres. And let's take a look at the Padres lineup. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers, with Corey Spangenberg making his 2017 debut.
Yeah, here's how Andy Green's going to line up the Padres tonight. Manuel Margot leading it off out in center field. Spangenberg, as you said, Corey Spangenberg in the lineup at third base, playing strictly at third base at the minor league level this year. Will Myers at first base. Jan Hervey Solarte at second. Hunter Renfroe out in right field. The red-hot Austin Hedge is doing the catching. Eric Ibar at shortstop. Jabari Blash out in left field, and Clayton Richard, the lefty, on the mound.
Your Ram Truck starting pitcher for the D-backs, the left-hander Patrick Corbin. Patrick has really pitched much better than his 1-3 record, a 3.27 ERA in 4 starts. He just faced these Padres Thursday at Petco Park, where Patrick worked 6 innings, gave up only 3 runs, and struck out 8 without walking a batter.
Yeah, he was really good in that ball game. Gave up a home run to Will Myers in the first inning. It looked like things might slip away rather quickly, but Patrick settled right back in, retired the Padres in order the next 3 innings. Ran into some trouble in the 5th, but as I said in the open of the show, his offense just did not support him in that ball game.
Hopefully a different story tonight for the Diamondbacks. Our eye on defense, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers, with Chris Owings in right field.
Yeah, you hit a grand slam, they put you at a corner outfield spot because you're a power hitter. Chris Owings in right, A.J. Pollock in center, Yasmani Tomas in left. It'll be Daniel Descalso at third base tonight, with Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Brandon Drury at second. Paul Goldschmidt back in the lineup after a day off. And Chris Iannetta doing the catching tonight for the lefty Patrick Corbin.
The crew chief has the balls and strikes tonight. Gary Cederstrom behind the plate. Tom Woodring at first base. Eric Cooper is at second, and Adrian Johnson at third. Padres come into tonight just 8-13 on the year, and we are set to go on a Teal Tuesday in downtown Phoenix, the second of a 4-game set, the D-backs and the Padres. Manuel Margot leads it off.
No easing into it with Manuel Margot. This guy's 9 for 17 leading off a game this year, so you better be ready to throw strikes right out of the chute.
Margot hitting .280 with 3 homers. He was 1 for 5 last night from the leadoff spot. A single and an RBI. Lays off the high fastball from Patrick, and it's 1-1.
9 for 17 leading off the game, including 6 extra base hits, 2 of them that left the yard.
Very talented rookie center fielder, only 22 years old. Jumps on that fastball, 94 from Corbin, and it's 1-2.
With that game in San Diego for Patrick, probably the best slider we've seen from him in a long time. Really was able to throw it to the back door for called strikes. Padres hitters start leaning out over the plate. He'd throw it to the back foot to the right-handed hitters. He was really working them over.
Margot can check his swing. Good start for Patrick Corbin, 1 down.
Kind of like that. A lot of downward movement on that slider in San Diego, and right here on strike 3 to Manuel Margot, bounces it right off a home plate, gets the check swing, strike 3.
Margot struck out to lead off last night's ball game against Zach Greinke. Well, for the first time this year, here is Corey Spangenberg, called up for the minor leagues today. He was hitting almost .350 with AAA El Paso. And he's in there at third base. Christian Bethancourt, the pitcher/catcher, was sent to AAA to work on his pitching full time, give that a more intense focus. So Spangenberg is here, former first-round pick by the Padres. Well, he hasn't looked rusty, at least in the Coast League. Spangenberg limited to only 14 games all of last season. He went down very early in the year with a left quadriceps strain and did not play a game after April 19th. Corbin's ahead 1-2. Boy, very breezy down on the field, even with the outfield panels closed. Windy day here in the Valley today.
Yeah, we talked about it before yesterday's ball game, that the wind was supposed to blow into the Valley, and strike 3 again. With the panels closed and the roof open, the wind really gets inside the stadium and swirls around. We saw the Indians outfielders have problems. We saw the Giants outfielders have problems in that first homestand. Another really good slider by Patrick Corbin in the early going.
Well, here's the dangerous Will Myers, a 3-run homer last night. He also struck out 3 times, leading the major leagues in hits, batting .345. Bob, as you said, Myers had a long home run off Patrick Corbin in the first inning of last week's game at Petco Park. He hit it in at the Padre bullpen in left center. It went about 440.
Will Myers is starting to make that a habit, hitting long home runs against D-backs pitching. He launched one out of here last night.
Chased a high fastball, and it's 1-2. And Myers off Silvino Bracho in the 7th inning last night, a 3-run homer, and he's been taking some extra BP, it looks like.
Yeah, the first appearance of tape on Will Myers' fingers. That's usually an indication he's been taking some extra BP in the cages and worked up a blister or a bad callus.
Well, Patrick Corbin strikes out the side. He got Margot, Spangenberg, and Myers. 1, 2, 3. Diamondbacks coming up against Clayton Richard. at-bats. Each one was 4 pitches, each one ending up in a strikeout. An impressive start for Patrick, your Ram truck starter for the Padres, the lefty Clayton Richard, who just beat the D-backs last Thursday at Petco Park.
Boy, to say this guy is a serious ground ball pitcher might be an understatement. Only Dallas Keuchel has induced more ground ball outs this season than Clayton Richard. Heavy sinker, big curve ball. It throws a cutter, throws an occasional 4-seamer up in the zone.
Really windy down on the field as A.J. Pollock leads it off with strike 1. A.J. 293 with 2 home runs, 0 for 4 last night. That snapped a 6-game hitting streak. Clayton Richard in that start last week against the Diamondbacks. 6 2/3 innings, allowed 9 hits, but only gave up the 1 run and had a season high 8 strikeouts. That's foul right by Tony Perez-Chica. You can see Richard's unusual throwing motion. Just kind of flings it in there, just about at ear level, and works from the extreme first base side of the rubber. So he's very tough on lefties.
There's a lot of herky-jerky action in that windup as well. Very tough to pick up the ball.
Austin Hedges hangs on and Pollock strikes out. Let's take a look at the lineup for Torey Lovullo's Diamondbacks. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
A.J. Pollock goes down on strikes to start the ball game. Yesterday's hero Chris Owings making his way to the plate right now. He'll be out right field today. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Yasmani Tomas cleaning up in the left field. Brandon Drury at second base. Daniel Descalso over at third. Chris Ionetta doing the catching tonight with Nick Ahmed at short and Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Look at that wind on Clayton Richards' jersey and pants. It is gusting down there, and he spikes one halfway to home.
Yeah, we talked about that herky-jerky motion of Clayton Richard to try to throw off a hitter's timing. It's just something that's evolved over the years, something he's comfortable with. A little step back, raises the leg, really reaches out with the right leg, hiding the ball the entire time. A little bit of a crossfire, not a drastic crossfire, but throws against his front leg a little bit, really hiding that ball well.
Yeah, Richard says when he throws this way, he doesn't have to fight his whole body and hurt his arm to get on top of the ball. He just kind of lets that arm go where it naturally wants to go, he says. One 1-0 on Chris Owings. Will Myers creeping in on the grass at first base, and there's a strike. It's 1-1.
Rarely are we able to say that the wind will be a factor here at Chase Field tonight, but if it keeps blowing like it is right now, it will be a factor before the evening's over.
Gusting big time down there. Chris Owings, 319 and 2 homers following his first career grand slam in last night's game. Onto the home run porch in left center. That's a foul ball. BB time for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Leave the worms alone.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, every scouting report you read on Clayton Richard said he's a worm killer. He throws so many ground balls. His infield is very busy behind him. So let's just leave the worms alone. Lay off that low sinker. Make him get the ball up in the zone a little bit where you can elevate.
I thought you had canceled a fishing trip or something with that one.
Well, they're just getting nice and fat for later in the summer.
Trying to throw that back foot slider, but missed, and it's 2-2 on CO. Goldie back after almost a full night off last night on deck. Came on in the 9th inning to play some defense at first. Spangenberg at third, bobbles it, recovers, and he gets Chris Owings at first. Hold on. Torey Lovullo on the top step. Jerry Nair and the bench coach on the phone with Alan Campbell, the video coordinator. Play on.
Sometimes at third base you just get caught in between hops and there's nothing you can do because the ball gets on you so quickly. Spangenberg played it up into his midsection, able to knock it down, and a strong throw across the diamond just in time to get CO.
Spangenberg is a guy who's played everywhere, mostly second base for the Padres. He's played some outfield as well, but as Bob said, concentrating on third. Goldie launches one toward the left field corner. That's gone. A home run. Paul Goldschmidt, number 4. And that's 5 consecutive games in which the Diamondbacks have hit a first-inning home run. First time that's ever happened in franchise history.
About that. And Goldie swinging at a first pitch.
Yeah.
That was a tough call for the third base umpire, Adrian Johnson. That ball was hit so high in the air, I believe it went over the foul pole. Wow, what a blast into the second deck out there in left field.
The last team to homer in the first inning in 5 consecutive games, the 2005 Chicago White Sox. A jumbo jack. A free jumbo jack tomorrow with the purchase of a large drink at Jack in the Box. 1-0 Diamondbacks. Here's Yasmani Tomas, last National League team to do it. You go back to the 1995 Rockies. Yasmani Tomas, 303 with 4 homers. Yasmani 2 hits, including an RBI double last night. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6 games. Well, that day off apparently did wonders for Goldie. It only took 1 swing.
He doesn't want to go back to that bench anytime soon.
Nope. Two balls and a strike to Yasmani Tomas.
And looking back, A.J. Pollock with a homer in the first, Jake Lamb and Yasmani Tomas a homer in the first the next day. Paul Goldschmidt did it a couple days ago. It was David Peralta last night, and now Goldie again here tonight, all in the first inning.
Well, the previous 4 times the Diamondbacks won 3 of those games, so that's a good sign. Yasmani ahead 3-1. This is a guy who just crushes lefties. So Richard has got his work cut out for him here. Coming inside where Yasmani likes it. Can't lay off. Inside fastballs. He loves those pitches.
He loves facing Clayton Richard, 5 for 10 lifetime. Clayton Richard is, of course, a lefty.
Coincidentally, not ironically. There's a base on balls. Let's take a look at the Padres defensively. Our eye on defense brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Jabari Blash in left field. Manuel Margot in center. Hunter Renfroe over in right field. Corey Spangenberg just back up from the minors over there at third base. He's already made 1 great play. Eric Ibar at short. Jan Hervey Solarte at second. Will Myers over at first. Austin Hedges behind the plate for the lefty Clayton Richard.
Brandon Drury in there at second base tonight. Singled and walked in last night's ball game. Check on Tomas. Something must be amiss.
Richard's pretty crafty. He's got a good move over there to first base. He varies his pickoff move to first. He'll throw out of a slide step. He'll throw out of a high leg kick. Got to keep a close eye on him.
Brandon Drury sits safely in 4 of his last 5 games. Notice Goldie's going with that rugged beard look. No shave.
To wait and see how long Amy lets him get away with that.
Good point. We'll know tomorrow. Drury knocks it into right field. Tomas will stop at second. Padres throw it around the infield. D-backs will have 2 on and 2 out for Daniel Descalso.
Good to see Brandon Drury going to the opposite field. He too is a very good hitter on the inside part of the plate, but he rarely sees pitches in there. Takes this 92-mile-an-hour fastball up and away and bangs it into right field for his first hit of the game.
Well, no David Peralta, no Jake Lamb tonight against the lefty Clayton Richard. Descalso gets the start at third. 138 with 5 runs batted in. Daniel flied out as a pinch hitter last night. Here's a tapper back to the mound. And that's the end of the inning. But Paul Goldschmidt, his 4th home run this year, 438 feet, 105 miles an hour off the bat. 5th consecutive game with a first inning homer. And it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Has given the Diamondbacks a 1-0 lead. Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located at Chase Field during any D-backs home game. Hopefully you'll get on the match game where the pressure is really on. Now, and Hervey Solarte leads off the Padres second against Patrick Corbin. Patrick had 3 4-pitch at bats in the top of the first and struck out all 3 batters he faced. Margot, Spangenberg, and Myers. Struck out the side in order.
12 pitches in that inning. 5 of them were swings and misses. Tells you how good his stuff is in the early going. 3 on sliders, the first 2 strikeouts of the inning, and then 2 high fastballs to Will Myers for the 3rd strikeout.
Fastball missed. And Corbin's behind 2-0. Solarte a switch hitter, 267 with 2 home runs this year. Rolls one up the middle. Nick Ahmed smothers it but can't collect it. And Solarte's aboard. So he's now hit safely in 6 straight games.
Long way to go for Nick. He gets a glove on it. Unfortunately can't close it around the baseball. It gets far enough away to allow Solarte to reach. I think he still would have had him if he comes up with it cleanly.
Yeah.
With Nick's arm and his ability to quickly get to his feet.
His release is remarkably quick. The rookie Hunter Renfroe, 250 on the year, 4 homers, 8 RBIs, leads all National League rookies. Renfroe singled last night and struck out twice. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Broken bat, rope to Descalso, and that's it.
It's so important for Patrick Corbin to be able to get inside on some of these right-handed hitters, and he gets right in Renfroe's kitchen that time. You see the splinters flying around home plate there. Soft line drive right to Descalso at third.
The suddenly dangerous Austin Hedges, hitting 183, leads all major league catchers with 6 homers and 13 RBIs. He homered in last night's game and has hit home runs in 4 of his last 5 games.
Had 1 RBI through the first 10 games of this season. He was hitting .065 after 10 ball games.
Well, he's a guy who's never come close to hitting at the major league level. He's an excellent defensive catching prospect. He's hit in the minor leagues pretty well. Had a good year at El Paso last year offensively, but the power's starting to translate at this level. In fact, he is the first catcher in Padres history to hit 6 home runs over a 9-game span. This was last night.
You mentioned he had 21 bombs last year in El Paso, but before that his high in the minor leagues for any season was 10. Sometimes the light bulb goes on later for guys. Sometimes they take advantage of pitchers' mistakes a little better at an advanced age. For whatever reason, Austin Hedges is red hot.
Drives one to center. It's in that win for AJ. 2 outs. The shortstop, Eric Ibar.
Shortstop, number 8.
Ibar, another switch hitter. Singled last night. He was 1 for 4, batting 169. Corbin trying to strand that leadoff single. Solarte at first and 2 outs. That's what Eric Ibar does against left-hand pitchers especially. Ibar hits a lot of ground balls against lefties, and he will chase anything out of the strike zone when he's in there against a left-hand pitcher. So you would think that Patrick's slider changeup here would work pretty well. Shows bunt, pulls back, and takes the ball. 1-1.
Ibar had a 2 RBI base hit against Patrick down in San Diego. If I recall correctly, it was a slider that just didn't do too much. He kind of hit it off the end of the bat, but pulled it over the third baseman's head. Drove in a couple of Padre teammates.
Dropped right on that left field line. Hey fans, celebrate Mother's Day at Chase Field. You can treat mom to the D-backs and Pirates game on Sunday, May 14th. First 10,000 moms in attendance get the D-backs clutch purse. That's courtesy of PetSmart. So get your Mother's Day tickets right now at dbacks.com, and we'll see you down here on Mom's Day against those battling Buccos. 1-2 on Eric Ibar. Solarte takes off for second, and Ibar dunks it into right. Solarte will get third here. Off with a pitch on Hervé Solarte.
With 2 outs, it's not a hit and run, but Ibar knows there's a big hole in that right side of the infield, and after a couple of flailing attempts of hitting Patrick Corbin's slider, he inside outs this one. Just dunks it out there in front of Chris Owens for a base hit.
So Solarte is at third, Ibar at first. 2 outs. And it's Jabari Blash, who's 0 for 11 this year. And this guy is a real true outcome guy. He's either going to walk, strike out, or hit a 400-foot home run. It's either A, B, or C. He was 0 for 3 last night, walked and struck out twice. Fastball missed. It's 1-0. Blash has struck out at least once in every game he's played this year.
And he spent time this spring preparing for that. He had 7 home runs, which was outstanding in spring training. Second place in all of Major League Baseball, but he also struck out 26 times, tied for the most in the majors.
He's got tremendous power. He's a big dude up there at 6'5", 235 from the U.S. Virgin Islands. Padres got him last year as a Rule 5 pick. Solarte at third, Ibar at first, 2 outs. Solarte paying attention down there at third when they throw to first. He's dancing around down that line. Padres have had to dip into their minor league system a bunch of times already this year. Spangenberg was called up today and Christian Bethancourt sent down. Blash was called up yesterday. Andy Green had to put Travis Jankowski on the 10-day DL. He's got a bone bruise in his right foot. Patrick behind 2-0. Now it's 3-0 with a pitcher Richard on deck. Padres will have the bases loaded with 2 outs for the pitcher. 2 singles and a walk in this inning after Corbin struck out the side on 12 pitches in the first.
Hey, you'd like to think that was just inning management right there, pitching very carefully to Blash, and once he fell behind in the count, he just didn't want to give in to the strike zone, knowing that the pitcher Clayton Richard was on deck. The other alternative is Patrick just lost his command here in this inning.
I'm going to go with A.
I like A a lot better.
Well, Richard against Corbin last week at San Diego flied out and struck out. He was 0 for 2. A 116 career hitter. Bases full of Padres and 2 outs. Waves at that one. A tremendous block back there by Chris Iannetta. Keeps Solarte at third. Look at Iannetta turn the glove and hit him right in the chest. Solarte at third, Ibar at second, and Blash at first. Another slider missed that time, and it's 1-1. D-backs took a 1-0 lead on a Goldie home run in the first inning, his 4th of the year. 5th straight game in which the Diamondbacks have hit a first inning home run, a franchise record. Fastball missed, and it's 2-1. Corbin behind in the count now. Padres this year 0 for 8 with the bases loaded. In there for a strike, 2-2.
There's a get me over fastball. You can afford to challenge the opposing pitcher a lot more than you would challenge any offensive player in this Padres lineup. Patrick gets right back into the count at 2-2. Finish him off here.
Reaches down at that slider and just gets a piece to stay alive. And well, Margot, the leadoff man, would be next.
Bases loaded, you try to stay away from a hitter's power. I'm not quite sure where Clayton Richard's power is, but Patrick Corbin working away. 21 pitches already in this inning.
After a 12 pitch first. Bounce to second. Brandon Drury's there, and Patrick Corbin leaves him loaded. He keeps it 1-0 D-backs. Astros in Cleveland. Jason Kipnis, deep center field. Look at Josh Reddick. This is gone for a home run, but Reddick's bringing it back at Progressive Field.
Wow, what a catch. You don't get many balls elevated against Keuchel.
Dallas Keuchel pitched a complete game. The Astros beat Cleveland 4-2. Here at Chase Field, it's 1-0 D-backs over the Padres, as Chris Iannetta leads off the second against Clayton Richard. Chris hitting .267. He's homered twice. Iannetta got the start behind the plate for the Diamondbacks in that series finale at San Diego last week. And Chris had a double and a single in his first 2 at-bats in that game against Richard. A very windy night here, and you can see Chris Iannetta, first time we've noticed this, Bob, going with some goggles.
Not sure if those are just protective goggles, if he wears contacts and his eyes are drying out, or whether they're prescription glasses.
Up in that win for Hunter Renfroe. 1 away in the second. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop tonight. Nick batting .226 with a homer.
Number 13, Nick Ahmed.
Different look to Torey Lovullo's lineup tonight against the lefty Richard. No Peralta, no Jake Lamb. Owings in right field, Descalso at third base, and Nick Ahmed at short. Myers will come in a step at first, and Ahmed rolls it into right. A 1-out single for Nick.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Third hit of the ball game for the D-backs, and with 1 out, here's the pitcher Patrick Corbin.
Padres talking it over in the middle of the infield in the event that Patrick tries to put down a sac bunt. Relaying the information over to Corey Spangenberg at third base. I'm not so sure Patrick will be bunting. Tory likes to let his pitchers that can swing the bat swing the bat.
Patrick can do that. He's an athlete. Spangenberg charges in from third. There's a high chopper. Hedges has it. And they throw to Myers as Ahmed moves into second with 2 outs.
One of your goals when you're trying to put down a sac bunt is bunt the top half of the baseball. You want the ball on the ground. This time Patrick gets the top half of the ball, bunts it right off of home plate, hangs up in the air long enough to allow Nick to move up to second base with 2 outs in the inning.
So an RBI chance here for A.J. Pollock, who struck out his first time up.
One thing we know about the Diamondbacks, they're willing to attempt to steal third base even with 2 outs in the inning if they feel like the times work out right. And Clayton Richards very slow to home plate with the runner out there at second base, at least on that first delivery.
And with a left-hand pitcher out there, obviously he can't see Nick behind him. I think Richard just made his point.
You hear me say all the time about just make him stop, and that's what Clayton Richard did. He wasn't going to try to pick him off, but he wasn't going to throw the ball home until Nick stopped his leadoff out there at second base.
That filed under the headline of controlling the running game around you if you're the pitcher?
Trying to, yeah. And then a quick pitch that time.
So if he's waiting a long time and then stopping and then quick pitching, you're really taking him out of his rhythm.
And that's when pitchers make mistakes. Yeah, when they start thinking too much about the runner, focused on trying to keep that guy close at second base and get rid of the ball quickly. That's occasionally when pitchers make mistakes.
Well, hitters count here for Pollock 2-0.
Oh, missed sign there. You could see Solarte breaking in the back of your picture, and Richard delivered the ball to home plate.
And Now Ibar is going to come over and have a chat with Solarte from his shortstop spot.
He's definitely in Richard's head right now.
Big time. That's going to get to the backstop, and Nick's going to get third after all. They'll stop there.
You have to believe some of that wild pitch is attributed to the concern with Nick out there at second base and the chance that he might steal third. Just spike that pitch in the dirt. That was right near the feet of A.J. Pollock. Nick had thoughts, but he just got to the ball quickly enough in that D-backs on deck circle to hold him at third.
Now A.J.'s ahead, 3 balls and a strike. He walked him. Second walk issued by Clayton Richard. That'll bring up Chris Owings.
Well, he was that worried about Nick Ahmed out there at second base with 2 outs in the inning. Now he's got a base stealer on at first as well.
It'll be an absolute wreck. Well, CO, the big hit last night, his first career grand slam. Watch Chacin. Onto the home run porch out there in left center field. This is in the 5th inning. And it came with 2 outs and the bases full. His second home run this year. Chris is hitting just under 370 at home this year. And he's got 12 RBIs in 10 games at Chase Field. Ahmed at third, Pollock at first, 2 outs. Fastball missed, and Chris is ahead 2-0.
Be a pick move to first.
Myers holding Pollock on the bag. Another long set by Richard. Staring contest, and now finally time is called by Gary Cederstrom. And now Darren Balsley wants a word. Padres are just a mess out there. Nobody can get together with anybody else. So let's talk it over. What are we doing?
You can almost bet that this conversation is, hey, don't worry about the runners. You've got 2 outs in the inning. Make a good pitch to the hitter. Focus on getting him out. If they steal second base, let them steal second base. Focus on the hitter.
This is a veteran pitcher out there. It's not like a 22-year-old rookie.
Given the nature of the games between the Diamondbacks and the Padres this year, with the exception of the 2 blowouts, they've all been very closely contested ball games where every run and every runner has been very important. Clayton Richard may be paying a little too much attention to those runners.
Base hit. That's headed for the right field corner. Ahmed scores. Here comes A.J. Pollock. And Owings is headed for third. It's an RBI triple.
Field approach against Clayton Richard. When he needs to throw a strike, it's going to be on the outside part of the plate. He's rarely going to challenge righties inside, and CO stayed right on that fastball and roped it down the right field line. The 49th 2-out run that the Diamondbacks have scored this season, far and away the most in the major leagues.
Well, that's why Brandon Webb likes to call them the Never Say Diamondbacks. Webby's taken over the Fox Sports Arizona Twitter during the middle of our game tonight. Here's Goldie, who homered in the first, his 4th of the year.
Goldie's home run back in the first game with 2 outs, just like Chris Owings' triple here in the second.
Must be funny for Andy Green to watch this from the Padre dugout. I mean, Greeny managed so many of these guys in the minor leagues at AA Mobile and other places. He's known these guys since they were babies. Two-0 to Goldie. Spits on a strike. A little changeup from Clayton Richard. 2-1 now. Since the start of last season, no hitter in baseball has walked more often against left-hand pitchers than Paul Goldschmidt. He's extremely patient up there and waits for his pitch when he's facing a lefty. Tomas on deck. He walked his first time up. Rolls it up the middle and into center. Owings scores, and it's 4-0. Goldie 2 for 2.
Got 52 out runs this year. Yeah, obviously demoralizing for a pitcher, but it's also demoralizing for the defender standing behind the pitcher. You get 2 quick outs in the inning, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, and before you know it, there's a 3 spot on the board, and the Diamondbacks are still hitting with a runner on base.
Yeah, since Corbin's sacrifice bunt that moved Ahmed over for the second out of the inning. Pollock has walked. Owings has tripled. Down Goldie singled. Here's Yasmani Tomas. Tomas, since the All-Star break last year, hitting .394 versus lefties. That is 5th best in all of baseball over that span. This is nonsensical for a veteran pitcher. I mean, he's completely lost it here in the second inning. Too preoccupied with the base runners. Controlling the running game is one thing, but this seems above and beyond, and it's burned him here for 3 runs.
Distracting to the pitcher on the mound, distracting to the defenders. He doesn't appear to be hurt in any way. His velocity still seems to be good. The movement on his pitches still seems to be good. Occasionally, when a pitcher's not feeling 100% out there on the mound, you start to do things to delay that next pitch because you know it's going to hurt, or you know you can't command it. But I don't see anything visibly wrong with Clayton Richard out there, but really slowing the pace here, worrying about the running game.
Goldie takes off for second. Hedges throws down there, and Solarte able to knock it down. Maybe scored a wild pitch. We'll see. It's a strike to Tomas. 0-2.
Which was in the dirt. As a general rule, if it goes in the dirt, even if it should be blocked, the pitcher's credited with a wild pitch.
Now Goldie in scoring position. 0-2 to Tomas. Wild pitch it is. Tomas drives one to left center. Margot makes a spectacular catch. The rookie in center field saved a run. Manuel Margot, what a grab in the left center field gap. But the Diamondbacks get 3. Owings a 2-run triple. Goldie the RBI single. They lead it 4-0.
Half of the third inning, Manuel Margot will lead it off. What an outstanding catch he just made in the gap in left center. That ball was hooking away from him. He was shaded over to the other gap and just outran the baseball. That glove very nearly came off his hand as he made that diving catch.
Squirts one towards second, and Drury has it. Hey fans, tonight it's Twitter Tuesday, and Brandon Webb has taken over Fox Sports Arizona's Twitter account. He is on tonight's innings 3 through 5, answering all your questions. There's Webby. He's very in touch with the social media.
Yes, he is.
He always has been. You can connect with Webby with the Fox Sports Arizona Twitter handle, which is right there, at Fox Sports AZ. Hashtag Webby on Twitter. Corey Spangenberg. Spangenberg struck out his first time up. Called strike 3. Gary Cederstrom rings him up. Second time Spangenberg has struck out tonight. That's 4 for Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, maybe one of the red seams caught the edge of the black right there. We'll take it. Nice job by Chris Iannetta keeping that glove right close to the corner and getting the call from Gary Cederstrom.
Will Myers struck out to end the first. You can see Chris Iannetta wearing those goggles both when he's batting and when he's catching tonight. It's very windy down on the field. Chris usually does wear contact lenses. He's been wearing his glasses a little more lately off the field, but the first time we've seen him with these goggles on the field. Didn't want to get that dirt blowing in his eye. Remember that a few years ago Cody Ross had all kinds of problems with his contact lenses in Arizona. Eventually, we all have to go to the glasses.
Yeah. Make concessions to age.
Yep.
You know, I will say this, though. I was way ahead of the curve. You know, it's very trendy now to buy contact lenses in colors. You know, bright blue, bright green.
Did you do that?
Oh, I wore brown ones at Candlestick for years.
Myers hits one all the way into the left field corner. Tomas digs it out, but Will Myers has another hit. That's his 6th double. He has been on an absolute tear this year.
He's looking like a guy that wants to win a batting title in the National League.
Well, he's leading the major leagues in hits.
He just has the ability to extend the swing, make it really long if he has to. If a pitcher throws him an off-speed pitch and he's slightly fooled by it, he can really drag that bat through the zone a long time, make solid contact like he did right there.
Myers has now hit safely in 4 straight games and 15 of his last 16. Here's Yangervis Solarte, and he hits it through the hole. Glenn Hoffman going to wave Myers home. The throw from Tomas is offline, and the run scores. And Solarte moves into second. Yeah, Osmani airmailed that throw just a bit, so it's a 4-1 ball game.
Yeah, Osmani props last night for throwing to second base rather than trying to chase the runner going from first to third, but this time he just airmails it over everybody. That allows not only Myers to score, but Solarte to move into scoring position with 2 outs.
So a pair of 2-out hits have produced the first San Diego run. Here's Hunter Renfroe, the rookie right fielder, who lined out to third his first time up. Hard to short, right to Nick Ahmed. We'll head to the bottom of the third. D-backs lead the Padres 4-1.
Brandon's another guy that's all business.
Drulo.
Drury, my guy. Drury's my guy.
He's quiet. He's very focused. Extremely intense.
He's an interesting cat.
Oh, Drury, yeah, that's a tough one. He's very passionate.
Drulo's definitely sneaky funny.
Lives and dies baseball.
Drury doesn't have much of a personality.
If you want to talk baseball, that's your guy.
Drulo leads off the bottom of the third. He is a very intense young man.
Doesn't have much of a personality. Lives for baseball.
He thinks about baseball 24/7. There's no getting around that. But I think he is sneaky funny. I agree with whoever said that. Laces one foul. Oh my goodness, that just ate up. Sam drove my Chevy to the Levenberg. Our rookie Golden Glover down the left field line. That almost knocked the grill right off the Chevy. Woo. That's rookie Sam Levenberg. That was coming to eat. Here is Sam. Look out.
He may be a rookie, but this is not his first game.
That's Sam Levenberg, our rookie Golden Glover down the left field line. There's Sam. Just starting to catch his breath again. Working right field tonight. That's Ross. Don't call me Mitch Miller. A couple of rookies down there tonight. 1 and 2 on Drulo. And Richard gets him to chase. Hey fans, MLB.TV Premium is back. Better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices, and you'll get a free subscription to AT Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Check MLB.TV for details. Daniel Descalso up now. The start at third base today. No Jake Lamb in the lineup. No David Peralta. One and one. Rockies, who are a game and a half ahead of the Diamondbacks atop the NL West, are back in action tonight. They're hosting the Nationals at Coors Field, and Washington leads that one 7-1. They're in the third. Dodgers and Giants are scoreless in San Francisco. Clayton Kershaw on the mound against rookie lefty Ty Block. He's going to take Mad Bum's spot in the Giant rotation.
Nationals over the Rockies, but it's only the third inning in Coors Field.
Chris Iannetta on deck. Descalso, when he has 2 strikes, is among the most patient hitters in the league. It's one reason why he draws his share of walks. Swings at that one, hits it right to Solarte. 2 outs in the third. Here's Chris Iannetta. Flying out to right his first time up.
This is one of the favorite innings for a catcher. When you're the third hitter up in an inning, you know you're going to bat. You go ahead and take your catcher's gear off. You don't have to worry about, geez, maybe I'll get up, maybe I won't get up. Should I take my shin guards off or not?
I would imagine that's a constant debate with yourself.
Yeah. It's like wardrobe changes, you know. You're in the on-deck circle, and the last out of the inning is made. You got to run back to the dugout and put your gear on. Try to get back out behind home plate to catch a couple of warm-up pitches, so you're ready to start the inning. Then when that inning ends, you've got to run back to the dugout and take your stuff off and try to get a couple swings in the on-deck circle. So this is a very comfortable at bat for Chris Iannetta.
He's ahead, 2 balls and a strike. Diamondbacks tonight with 2 outs, 4 for 6. 2 walks and 4 runs batted in. Broken bat roller right to Ibar at shortstop. And Richard works a 1-2-3 third. We'll head to the 4th. D-backs lead at 4-1.
Field, Patrick Corbin on the mound. Jody Jackson back with you here. We still await word on Shelby Miller's elbow. He did meet with doctors today in Los Angeles, and we should know more tomorrow. But what we do know is who will take a spot in the rotation. Zach Godley will start here tomorrow night. They'll push Taijuan Walker and Robbie Ray back. Godley was supposed to start in Reno yesterday. He's coming off a great outing in Reno, 61 pitches over 7 innings. And for Zach, another chance here at the big leagues after struggling last season.
Good to have Zach here with us. He's been at the ballpark. I think it was here yesterday, in fact, or this morning anyway. Mike Hayes and the GM on the left. Jared Porter, the assistant GM, on the right. As the Diamondbacks tap into their farm system to fill that rotation spot with Shelby Miller on the DL. Nick Ahmed has the pop up off the bat of Austin Hedges to lead off the fourth. So it'll be Trevor Cahill tomorrow for the Padres and Zach Godley for the Diamondbacks. Taijuan Walker will pitch the series finale against these Padres against Jared Weaver on Thursday. Then Robbie Ray starts the opener of a 3-game set Friday against the Rockies. Here's Eric Ibar, who singled his first time up.
I said it about Ibar batting left-handed last night. I'd say the same thing today, batting right-handed. Pitch him up and out over the plate. Let him see how far he can hit it to the opposite field. He can be dangerous from the middle of the plate in. We've seen him hook balls down that left field corner from time to time as a right-handed hitter, but make him hit it in the air the opposite way, he's going to make outs.
That's in the seats and out of play. Hey, fans, take advantage of unique outing spaces at Chase Field, like the Coors Light Strike Zone, all-you-can-eat seats, the PetSmart patio, and more when you bring your group to Chase Field. Host your employees or some clients with discounted tickets and take advantage of many group perks. Call 602-462-4600 or visit dbacks.com/groups.
Well, I can't think of a better place to spend an evening with your group, whatever it may happen to be. Beautiful evenings here in Phoenix, roof wide open, very comfortable.
Fastball's in there for strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Corbin, 2 down in the fourth.
Got him peeking at a backdoor slider that time. Big loopy slider, just does get to that outside corner. You see the slider grip and that rotation, kind of like a spiral football coming in there, taking that break down and in, that time to the back door of a right-handed hitter. Another good slider right there to Blash.
Jabari Blash walked his first time up. Still looking for his first base hit this year. He's 0 for 11. One and two. Full count, 3-2.
Interesting to see how Patrick tries to finish off Blash right here. He's chased high fastballs. He's chased sliders in the dirt. I'd like to see him go high fastball myself. Oh, he laid off.
Missed at 93. Blash's second walk of the ball game.
Didn't miss by much.
Gary Cedarstrom not fighting back there. That'll bring up the pitcher, Clayton Richard.
Pitcher, Clayton Richard.
Almost an identical pitch to one he swung through earlier in the at-bat. High fastball just above the top of the zone there.
Well, Richard had a long at-bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the second inning and finally grounded out. Patrick jumps ahead 0-1. Another fastball, and it's 0-2. 60 pitches for Corbin, 41 for strikes. He has walked 2 and struck out 5. Strictly fastball so far to the pitcher, Richard. One more here.
Well, you can see from the swings that Richard's taken, he's tardy on every fastball, fouling him off to the third base side of the field. An off-speed pitch just speeds up his bat. Now, you'd like to think Patrick could throw that slider in a good location where the pitcher couldn't get to it. But against an opposing pitcher, go with the pitch you think you can command the best. There's a front door slider. See you later.
6 strikeouts for Patrick Corbin. He's got a 4-1 lead. Patrick Corbin has walked 2, struck out 6. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Padres 5-4. They lead at 4-1. Comfortable but very breezy here as the D-backs lead the Padres 4-1. Nick Ahmed will lead off the bottom of the 4th against lefty Clayton Richard. Nick singled and scored his first time up. First pitch swinging, knocks it in front of Margot in center. Ahmed 2 for 2.
Nick attacking that first pitch, both at bats, an opposite field single back in the second inning, and this time right back up the middle of the field against Clayton Richard. Little sinker at 89, working away from Nick, stayed right on it that time.
Must have had a donut before the game.
Got to eat a sinker to hit a sinker.
Well, Patrick Corbin chopped a sacrifice bunt high off home plate his first time up. Next 3 D-backs after that reached as the Diamondbacks scored 3 in the second. Spangenberg in on the grass at third. Here he comes. Corbin pulls back and takes ball 1.
Ideally, Patrick bunts that ball to the first base side. Will Myers holding on the runner down there. He's getting a late start toward home plate, but as you could clearly see, Spangenberg that time right in Patrick's grill. Yeah, another one off home plate would work. That ball bounced so high in the air, Hedges had no play other than to go to first base in that sac bunt back in the second.
Straight up in the air over the catcher's head. Corbin drops it down third base side. Richard again has only 1 play as Ahmed moves into second. 2 good bunts by Patrick tonight.
Center fielder,
A.J. Pollock, Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Last 10 games against the San Diego Padres, he's hit just over 360 with 5 extra base hits. He has struck out, walked, and scored a run tonight so far, 0 for 1.
May not be satisfying for Patrick Corbin to put down sack bunts, but he's executed 2 perfectly tonight.
That's right.
You know he'd like to swing the bat, but his sack bunt back in the 2nd inning was the 2nd out of the inning, and we know what happens when the D-backs get 2 outs. They start scoring runs.
It's true. And sack bunts the last couple of years, frankly, have not been the Diamondbacks' strength from their pitchers. So it's good to see. Ahmed at 2nd and 1 out. That's a fair ball by Spangenberg at 3rd. Ahmed will score easily. And A.J. Pollock is in at 2nd with an RBI double. 5-1 Diamondbacks, the 7th double this year for A.J.
A sprawling attempt that time by Spangenberg. Top spin grounder just shot by him down that left field line.
You hungry?
Oh, I won't be tomorrow between 4 and 6.
There it is. 5 runs, tacos. I'd like to thank the art department. Chris Owings, a 2-run triple his last time up.
Wait, we have an art department?
Apparently. Otherwise, you and Joan have been doing some art projects on the kitchen table.
We have very creative fans. We appreciate their input.
There goes A.J. He's in at 3rd with no throw. 5th stolen base for A.J. Pollock. Boy, you know, Richard worried about base runners all night long, and A.J. takes that one even without a throw from Hedges.
And A.J. didn't really have a great jump, but Richard's just so slow in his delivery to home plate. You don't really need a great jump.
Greg Stammen was up early in the ball game last night. He'll start warming up. Infield comes in, and Chris fouls that back. It's 1-1. Lucio up to 324 now after that triple in the 2nd inning. Base hit. A.J. scores another RBI for Chris Owings, and it's 6-1.
Chris Owings, because of his stature and his speed, a lot of people view him as a top of the lineup type of a hitter, but the way he's been driving in runs lately, you might want to put him in the middle. Another RBI. Line drive right back up the middle of the field.
3 hits in this inning. Goldie has homered and singled. He's knocked in 2 so far. Can't get too comfortable, though. Remember, they had a big lead last night, and things got a little too close for comfort. CO a perfect 5 for 5 at his stolen base attempts this year. 2-0 to Goldie. This is the 4th consecutive game in which he's had an at bat that Goldie has had at least 2 RBIs. Played a half inning in the field last night at the end of the game. Didn't get up there.
Padres took a quick peek decided to play on.
Well, Richards so far this year rarely throws an off-speed pitch when he's behind in the count. He's a little more old school that way. We've talked about what's a fastball count these days. Well, he doesn't like to mess around. They got Owens hung up. He went on first move, and they throw him out. That's a caught stealing. First time this year Chris has been caught.
You're right. He took off on first movement by Clayton Richard, and because he has so many pauses in his delivery to home plate, it was almost like he lifted his leg, hung there in the air for a moment, saw that Chris Owings was breaking for second base, and threw the ball over to Will Myers at first to start the 1-3-4 put out at second base.
So base is empty, 2 outs for Goldie, and he's ahead 3-0. That was another fastball. A good example of what we were just talking about. Richard, when he's behind in the count, rarely throws an off-speed pitch. Usually tries to stick that fastball inside. Fastball away, and Goldie walks. He's reached base safely 3 times tonight. That'll bring up Yasmani Tomas. Andy Green. He's had Craig Stammen warming up, the right-hander. And he's going to go to his bullpen here. So Clayton Richards' night will end after only 3 2/3. Diamondbacks lead at 6-1. Express, presented by Cox Communications, is ready to take you to a D-backs game. Stop by the Cox Solution Store in Casa Grande at 1321 East Florence Boulevard. Register for a chance to win 2 tickets on the Fan Express. Winners will be taken from the store to the D-backs game here at Chase Field, May 13th against the Pirates. Registration ends May 4th. Clayton Richards' night has ended right here. 3 2/3, 6 runs all earned on 8 hits. He walked 3. And on for the Padres, the right-hander Craig Stammen, who has allowed 8 runs in his last 4 appearances. He'll face Yasmani Tomas with Goldie at first and 2 outs, and 2 runs already in. That ERA for Stammen up to 9, his 9th appearance of the year. Tomas has walked and lined out to center. He's 0 for 1. Hit a rocket to center field, on which rookie center fielder Manuel Margot made a spectacular diving catch that saved the run in the second. Two and 0.
Boy, for the second night in a row, the D-backs offense has completely flipped the script on the starting pitchers that they faced in San Diego.
Good call.
Chacin was so good at Petco Park, as was Clayton Richard, but the Diamondbacks in both instances felt they learned something from that last outing against those 2 particular pitchers, and they really showed it here tonight and last night.
D-backs already 9-2 here at Chase Field this year, their best home start since 2008. They lead at 6-1 in the fourth. Is rolled into right, a base hit for Yasmani. He's aboard for the second time tonight. That'll bring up Brandon Drury.
Talk about it all the time. Where's the hole in the defense? Where is the weakness in the defense? You can clearly see it's on the right side. I'm not sure if Yasmani intended to hit that ball that direction, but take advantage of that big hole.
Well, 5 of the 6 D-backs batters in this inning have reached base. 4 hits and a walk. Drury has singled and struck out. He's 1 for 2.
Now the 2 outs the Padres have gotten in this inning. One was a sac bunt by Patrick Corbin, and the other a pickoff caught stealing of Chris Owings.
Andy Green's club 8-13 on the year coming into tonight. Brandon Drury since mid-season last year, hitting .380 at Chase Field, which is among the best home averages in baseball over that span. He's got Goldie at second, Tomas at first, and 2 outs. Slider got away from Stammen that time, and it's 2-1. Rockies are at home. Washington's leading at Colorado 7-2. They're in the 4th inning at Coors Field. Clayton Kershaw and Ty Block at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Dodgers and Giants are scoreless. They're in the 3rd. Drury spits on a fastball, and it's 3-1. Daniel Descalso on deck. Not a play.
Sometimes a pitcher's delivery can be a little bit deceiving. Stammen out there on the mound, it appears he's throwing out of a slide step, but he's still been 155, 16. That last pitch 173 to the plate.
It's really slow.
Yeah, he's got some hitches in his giddy up there. You know, he starts for home plate. First of all, it's pretty easy to read when he's going to start his delivery. But then that little drop and drive action that he does right at the end of his delivery makes it slow.
Drury strikes out. Diamondbacks get 2 more. They lead at 6-1. Presented by T-Mobile. Dodgers put Jock Peterson on the 10-day disabled list today. Remember, he had to leave a game against the Diamondbacks this weekend with that groin problem. The Yankees are 8-1 at home this year. Eric Thames of the Brewers hit another home run. But that's not the news. This play from the Cardinal Blue Jay game is a real showstopper. Kevin Pillar hits one into the right field corner. Chris Coghlan will try and score from first. And watch this play at the plate. Wow!
Oh, looks like Superman.
Over Yadier Molina and in there. Chris Coghlan of the Blue Jays. That is unbelievable. Now that is a showstopper.
That's a showstopper right there. Outstanding.
And well, Margot leads off the fifth against Patrick Corbin. You ever seen that?
I've seen guys attempt to do that.
A little flare to left for Tomas. Usually doesn't work out as artistically as that one did.
It all goes well as long as that catcher doesn't realize what you're doing and stand up and shoot you another 10 feet up in the air.
You ever have a guy jump over you like that?
No, they usually just ran right through me.
Look at this.
Yeah, look at Yadi. Puts his head down, does a turtle expecting solid contact right there, and Coghlan just brushes him as he sails over the top. Wow, what a play.
Chris Coghlan. One of the plays of the year tonight at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Corey Spangenberg just called up from AAA El Paso today. His first game in the big leagues this year, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. And Patrick ahead quickly 0-2. Patrick Corbin so far has walked 2 and struck out 6. Giving up just 1 run on 4 hits.
Boy, the record for home runs in the month of April, Albert Pujols and Alex Rodriguez each got to 14. You may remember Luis Gonzalez back in 01 hit 13 in April. Thames got a few more days.
What's he up to now? He's at 11?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He's been playing in Korea the last few years. Eric Thames put up big home run numbers there, but this is a whole nother story. Well, Spangenberg strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. Now 7 punch outs for Patrick.
First baseman Will Myers.
Tough duty first day back for Corey Spangenberg facing Patrick Corbin on top of his game tonight. He struck out 3 times.
Will Myers doubled and scored his last time up. Came home on a Solarte RBI single. Both those hits with 2 outs in the 3rd. Myers usually pretty patient against left-hand pitching. He'll wait for his pitch. He's been averaging about 5 pitches per plate appearance against lefties. Slider from Corbin, and it's 2-1. Well, Myers worked a lot this offseason on just being ready to hit the fastball. He thinks being ready to hit that fastball also keeps him ready for anything off speed. And so his enemy this year, he says, is being in between pitches. What does that mean exactly, in between pitches?
You're tardy on fastballs and out in front of off-speed pitches. You hit the fastballs foul down the right field line. You hit the off-speed stuff foul down the left field line. You just can't seem to get the timing on either pitch.
Missed the fastball that time, and it's a full count, 3-2.
And usually when that happens, a hitting coach will tell you to get back on the fastball. Make sure that if the guy throws you a strike fastball, you can barrel it up and hit it hard somewhere, and then just adjust as best you can to off-speed pitches.
Nick Ahmed is there. A 1-2-3 fifth for Patrick Corbin, who's got a 6-1 lead.
One time to take a look at our Geico. This day in baseball history, he's always been my hero, but on this day in baseball history in 1976, Rick Monday became a national hero. 2 trespassers tried to set fire to an American flag in the outfield at Dodger Stadium. Rick Monday, who had served 6 years in the Marine Reserves, would not allow that to happen. Snatched the flag away and was later presented with that flag for his patriotism, and it's one of the greatest highlights in the game to this day.
And one of the most famous plays of that whole era, really. Daniel Descalso 0 for 2 leads off the 5th. This is leaking toward the D-back dugout and out of play.
The Padres really like to shift around to the opposite field with their outfielders. We've seen them do that with Jake Lamb, with David Peralta, Hunter Renfroe playing over in the gap in right center field rather than straight away right field, leaving a lot of room down that right field line. It's almost an automatic triple if you can hit that ball down the right field line.
Now look, with a 2-2 count, Spangenberg, the third baseman, runs over to the second base spot, and now they'll put 3 infielders on the right hand side, but they wait for a 2-2 count against Descalso. So Andy Green actually do that a lot when he was running the defensive shifts here with the Diamondbacks. They would adjust pitch to pitch and count to count like that. D-backs now have Mike Fitzgerald, who they hired from the Pittsburgh Pirates, running their analytics department. MIT grad. He's here tonight. Full count on Descalso, 3-2. Chris Iannetta on deck. High drive, deep right field, and there it goes. Daniel Descalso, his first of the year. 7-1 Diamondbacks.
Can't put a defender there. That's one way to beat the shift. Just hit it over everybody. Boy, he absolutely murders this pitch. Fastball inside part of the plate, about belt high. Right on the sweet spot.
That's the way Daniel hit all through spring training. Saw him power up a few like that. A jumbo jack off the bat of Daniel Descalso. Played for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic. Chris Iannetta. D-backs 7-6 winners last night. This one not yet through the 5th inning. They lead at 7-1. Iannetta knocks it to center, but Margot is there. He hit that one on an absolute rope.
Right on the nose. Hey, fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 or more, Taco Bell giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Yeah, we're already past the taco mark.
Well, we just wanted to alert the fans out there. Just a reminder.
We're headed nicely toward your fast food trifecta.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Had 2 home runs for 2 jumbo jacks. Got the 5 runs for the tacos. Just need the win for the pizza. Here's Nick Ahmed, who has singled twice and scored twice. 2 for 2. Well, every D-backs hitter tonight, 1 through 8, has had at least 1 base hit, except Chris Iannetta, who should have had one right there. Hit that one right on the screws. And in the meantime, Patrick Corbin's pitching a terrific game. Through 5 innings, Patrick has given up just 1 run on 4 hits. He's walked 2 and struck out 7. He's on deck. And Stammen strikes him out. Hey, students, you can take advantage of the D-backs student pass all season long. Get ticket discounts and specials sent right to your mobile phone. All you have to do is text student to 76925. Text student to 76925 or log on to dbacks.com/student. We have 1,300 student pass tickets sold tonight. And there they are over in sections 106 through 109.
Sometimes you forget how many outs there are in an inning. Austin Hedges thought that was the 3rd out, started walking off, and then casually tries to throw it around the horn like he knew it was only 2.
And planned to do that.
Will Myers walked halfway in from first base and very forcefully held up 2 fingers. That's only 2 outs.
Patrick has laid down 2 perfect sacrifice bunts so far. Now he'll swing away with the bases empty.
Pretty good emergency swing there by Patrick Corbin. Tough pitch at the borderline there. At least he thought it was going to be at the borderline of the bottom of the zone. Just able to get a piece, stay alive.
Two and 2. Dodgers have taken a 2-1 lead over the Giants in San Francisco with Clayton Kershaw on the mound. They're in the 4th inning. Rockies at Coors Field losing to the Nationals 8-3 in the 5th. And that's a called strike 3. Second strikeout in the inning for Craig Stammen, but the Scalzo's homer makes it 7-1 D-backs.
To the top half of the 6th inning. Hey, D-backs fans, celebrate the start of the 2017 D-backs season with an ice-cold Pepsi. Stop by your local Fry's food store and stock up on some today. Pepsi is the official soft drink of your Arizona Diamondbacks.
Leading off for San Diego, second baseman Yangervis Solarte.
At the top of the promo game tonight as we start the 6th, Yangervis Solarte will lead it off against Patrick Corbin, who set down the last 4 in a row. Solarte 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He's knocked in the Padres' only run. So Solarte, who had 3 hits last night, 2 for 2 so far tonight.
That's what we were talking about, a guy that's a little out in front of off-speed pitches and a little behind fastballs.
In between.
Yeah, Solarte's seen 2 off-speed pitches and way out in front of one with a swing and a miss, and that one pulled way foul down the third base line.
He's got another hit. 3 for 3. Solarte had 3 singles in his first 3 at-bats last night.
Able to stay back on that slider just enough to keep it fair into left field.
Leadoff single brings up Hunter Renfroe.
Kind of jumped at the first 2 sliders, but that's not a bad pitch by Patrick Corbin. Down below the knees, but Solarte stays on it. Leadoff single.
Renfroe 0 for 2, the rookie right fielder. Fastball up and in, missed. It's 1-0. Renfroe is a guy who chases a lot of low breaking balls, so Patrick should be a tough matchup for him as long as he keeps that slider down against Renfroe. Came in with a fastball again. $80 pitches for Patrick Corbin, 54 for strikes. 3-0. Oh, that's a strike. 2-1.
Trying to think of who Hunter Renfroe reminds me of, and not so much the way he looks or the way he stands at the plate or anything like that, but more in his attack. He reminds me of Pete O'Brien.
An all or nothing guy. Iannetta against the screen. Nice play there by Chris. Brings that one in foul ground, running out of room, and Renfroe's 0 for 3.
Yeah, nice job staying with that one. We talked about the swirling winds here at Chase Field tonight. Iannetta had a beat on that one right away, chases it all the way to the backstop, and I think there was just enough wind to push that one back in play. Now, that glove is not made for catching pop-ups. Especially when you're running with all that gear on, your goggles on, the wind's blowing. Nice play.
There's the Padre catcher Austin Hedges, who's 0 for 2. Just about a week ago, Padres coaches noticed Austin Hedges' hands were moving a little later in his swing than they used to. Alan Zinter is their hitting coach, and they took a look at some video and figured that out. Brought it to Hedges' attention, and the next day he hit a home run. And he's hit 6 home runs in his last 9 games. It's about, he says, getting his hands started at the right moment so everything syncs up. He was a little out of sync before. And he's got it going now, though, bidding for another home run. Chris Owings has it just shy of the wall in right field. Allowed out number 2. That makes sense to you?
It doesn't really matter. You know, if you believe it helps you and you have immediate positive results the way Hedges did, it works. I mean, the mental part of the game is so vitally important, and as long as physically your body's in a position where you can get the bat to the ball, and then you have some success trying something new, you start to believe that was my problem. That was my, now I'm fixed. And so far it's worked for Hedges.
First Padres catcher ever with 6 homers in a span of 9 games. And another home run last night. Here's Eric Ibar, the shortstop, who has singled and struck out.
think most hitting coaches in baseball would tell you, there's certain mechanical things that you have to do to get into good hitting position, get the bat to the ball quickly, and most guys are pretty similar when it comes to the very last part of the swing. But if you get a piece of advice, whether it be from a teammate or a coach or an opponent or somebody on Twitter, and you take it into a game and it works for you and you believe that was what was causing your problems, then your problem is fixed, at least for the time being.
It certainly seems to be the case with Hedges.
Yeah.
Last 9 games, he's hit .310 with 6 homers. No, he didn't go, Tom Woodring. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Eric Ibar.
That slider down once again. Ooh, very close, very close.
You ask 6 umpires what they look for on that play, you'll get 6 different answers. Nothing in the rule book about a check swing. 90 pitches for Corbin, 60 strikes. Got him with a fastball. 8 strikeouts for Corbin, who strands that leadoff single. Bottom 6 coming up. It'll be the top of the order due up for the D-backs. A.J. Pollock, Chris Owings, and then Paul Goldschmidt, who has homered, singled, and walked tonight. D-backs lead it 7-1. Long balls. Goldie in the first, his 4th of the year. And then Daniel Descalso leads off the 5th inning with his first. A.J. Pollock leads off the 6th.
Nothing wrong with a little instant offense. We like to see that.
A.J. had an RBI double, stole a base, and scored a run his last time up. He scored twice tonight from the leadoff spot. Hits one in the hole. Ibar can't handle it. Pollock's aboard. This seems familiar, this situation.
Right fielder.
Last night it was an E5 in the 7th. A base hit for A.J. So Pollock has singled, doubled, and walked tonight. He's aboard for Chris Owings. Another big night for CO. A 2-run triple in the 2nd and an RBI single in the 4th. A.J. takes off. Here's the throw. Not in time. His 2nd stolen base tonight, his 6th of the year.
I mentioned it an inning ago. Even though he uses the slide step, Stammen doesn't unload the ball quickly to home plate. He still takes 1-5 to get the ball to his catcher. And A.J. just around the slide that time. Around the tag, rather.
Bullpen for the Padres still quiet. With Stammen at 30 pitches, he came on in the middle of the 4th inning. It was a short night for Clayton Richard. Another RBI chance for Chris Owings. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Boy, CO and now 11 home games at Chase Field this year, has 15 RBIs. He's hitting close to 400 at home. That one almost got Tony Perez-Chica.
Gotta be quick, Tony. Look out.
And limber.
That's why he's always in an athletic position over there. You know, he's like an infielder waiting for the ball to be hit. Flexing the knees, head up.
The numbers at home for Chris Owings coming into tonight. It's now 15 RBIs. Two and two. AJ takes off for third. Oh, he had it.
That pitch was just too close for Chris Owings to take with a 2-strike count. AJ just a walking lead, kept on going. Unfortunate there wasn't no strikes or 1 strike. You could take that pitch to allow him to steal third base, and you could drive him in with a sac fly to the outfield. The infield would probably be drawn in. You might drive it through there. But with a 2-strike count, you've got to protect on anything close.
Well, it's good to see AJ running full gas after he had that little groin problem during spring training. Kept him out for a couple of weeks. 2 stolen bases tonight, 6 on the year. Still 2-2 on Chris Owings. It right to Spangenberg at third, 1 down.
Goldie making his way to the plate. It's time for AARP's Getting to Know Paul Goldschmidt. Interesting little tidbit here about Goldie. Last night was only the 2nd home game he did not start since suffering a fractured hand getting hit by a pitch back in August 1st of 2014 against the Pirates.
Well, he's had at least 2 RBIs in each of his last 4 games in which he's had an at-bat. 2 more tonight. On a homer in the 1st and the single in the 2nd. He also walked in the 4th. Another time where Goldie's chasing that first pitch. Been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the Diamondbacks hitters be very aggressive on first pitches. Nick Ahmed's first 2 base hits in the ball game, he swung at the first pitch. He even swung at the first pitch in the at bat in the 5th inning when he struck out. Goldie swinging at first pitches. I'm sure that's part of the plan of attack that Dave Magadan came up with against this Padres pitching staff, especially the starters. Jhoulys Chacín last night and Clayton Richard tonight.
Well, we've got Mike Fitzgerald here, who's been running the Diamondbacks analytics department, hired in the offseason for the Pittsburgh Pirates. There he is on the left. 0-2 to Goldie.
Boy, and the Diamondbacks running game has just stomped into the consciousness of the Padres pitching staff.
There's Mike on the far left, Corey Hahn there in the middle with Mike Hazen and Jared Porter on the right. Mike Fitzgerald, an MIT guy, now running the Diamondbacks analytic efforts as Hedges can't go on. You walk into Mike's office and there's a whiteboard on there, you know, on the wall, and he's got all these aeronautical MIT equations on there. It looks like Good Will Hunting in his office. But, he's the man, just 28 years old, running the Diamondbacks analytics. Got a whole staff working for him. All there in Mike Hazen's booth here at the ballpark. Solarte sneaking in at second. That fastball missed to Goldie, and it's 1-2.
You know, not only in the head of the Padres pitching staff, but as you said, Solarte jockeying AJ back to the bag out there, opening up a hole on the right side of the infield. That running game changes everything. Just the threat of a running game changes everything.
Boy, AJ's really making a lot of noise back there with his feet. And Stammen's a little freaked out. Jumping around back and forth.
And so far it hasn't been careless. It hasn't been overly aggressive. But he's just getting out there trying to get that walking lead, time the delivery.
It was hard enough to pitch to Goldie.
Yeah.
You've got a guy behind you doing all that in a 7-1 game. But this was one of the trademarks of the Diamondbacks 2 years ago when they excelled at this type of aggressive base running.
Best in the business right there.
Dave McKay at first. Padres bullpen busy again now with Stammen at 40 pitches on in relief. He's running full on Goldie.
I find it interesting that Goldie, you know, he always chokes up a little bit on the bat with 2 strikes, and he visually checks where his bottom hand is right there. He always takes a quick look just to make sure he's not choked up too far or not far enough. That bottom hand is right where he wants it to be.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Here it is. That one almost got Mickey down there. Mickey working our dugout camera on the third base side.
Too quick for that.
You always are, Mick. Mick the Quick. One fair into the left field corner. This will get AJ home with the 8th run of the ball game. It gets by Blosh, and Goldie kicks it into gear. He heads for third. 8-1. Goldie on base for the 4th time tonight. That one rolled away from Jabari Blosh in left field.
Goldie's eyes light up on this hanging breaking ball. Oh, right in the middle of the zone. That ball got out to left field in a heartbeat. Hit the wall so hard it just shot by Blosh out there in left field. AJ will score easily from second base, and once it gets away from the Padre left fielder, Goldie's going to end up at third base.
Jabari Blosh. Well, we're in the 6th inning. The Diamondbacks have scored in 5 different innings. They now lead Andy Green's Padres 8-1. And he's going to go get Craig Stammen. it except for Chris Iannetta, who should have one. He hit a rocket to center field right at the center fielder Manuel Margot. D-backs 8 runs on 12 hits and still counting. The infield will come in now for Yasmani Tomas with Goldie at third and 1 out. Miguel Diaz, the right-hander, is the new pitcher. A double switch for Andy Green. Alan Cordoba takes over at shortstop. He'll bat 9th, pitcher spot now 7th in the San Diego order. Strike 1 to Yasmani Tomas, who has walked, lined out to center and singled. The 9th appearance of the year for Miguel Diaz. There was a double and an error, putting Goldie at third base, so he's a triple shy of the cycle tonight. And Tomas sends one out to Blash in left. He reaches out and snags it. Here comes Goldie. An RBI for Yasmani Tomas, and it's 9-1.
Yasmani has scalded the ball to left field a couple times in this game. Margot took extra bases away earlier with a diving catch, and now Blash recovers just in time to make that leaping catch. Still goes as a sacrifice fly, but boy, Yasmani squaring it up a couple times tonight.
Base is empty, 2 down now. Here's Brandon Drury, who's 1 for 3, a single in the first. First pitch swing and hits it high in the air, right center field. Renfroe chasing after it. Margot won't get there, and Brandon Drury's in at second with his 4th double this year. "13 hits for the Diamondbacks."
It seems like the wind has died down a little bit, but it sure looked like that ball was getting pushed away from Margot toward the gap in right center. When it left the bat, it was just a little bit to the right of straightaway center, but it just kept slicing away farther and farther and ends up falling safely in the gap.
That's about as solid as Brandon has hit a ball in a while. Squared that one up. So he's at second with 2 down. Descalso homered his last time up, his first of the year. Fastball's in there for a strike. Our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. Daniel Descalso leads off the 5th.
Always good to get that first one out of the way. Even if you're not a home run hitter, you want to have a number in that column on the stat sheet.
He hit 8 last year. 4 of them were against the Diamondbacks when he was playing for the Rockies. Daniel had been 4 for 31 at the plate this year before he hit that homer. Speaking of the Rockies, I'm sorry, Bob, they're coming back again on the Nationals. Washington now leads 8-5 in the 6th inning at Coors.
A lot of baseball left at Coors Field.
Rockies will be in here for 3 starting on Friday. Dodgers still lead 2-1 at the Giants. They're in the 5th. Clayton Kershaw against Ty Blach. In the air, left center field. Margot drifting over. And that ends the inning, but the Diamondbacks get 2 more, and through 6, they lead it 9-1. Corbin tonight, 6 innings. He's given up just 1 run on 5 hits. He's walked 2. He's got 8 strikeouts. Cox, high-speed highlights. Another great night against these Padres for Patrick.
Oh, it really has been a good night for Patrick. Fastball command has been outstanding. When he's wanted to throw the slider in the dirt to get a swinging strike, he's been able to do that. He's thrown some backdoor sliders for called strikes. Finished strong.
Both of his walks tonight have come against Jabari Blash, who leads off the 7th. Blash, Cordoba, and Margot 8, 9, and 1. Blash hits it way up in the air. Deep left field. Tomas at the wall. And he can't get it. It's a home run. Jabari Blash's first base hit this year. And it's a 9-2 ball game. I told you he's a real true outcome guy. Either it's a walk, a strikeout, or a home run.
That one had some serious hang time.
Shortstop.
Elevated fastball at 87. I think it was a fastball. Might have been a changeup at 87. Yasmani just kind of drug his glove against the fence just a little bit. Doesn't get the extension he needs. Right there. He hit it against the yellow stripe and couldn't get up high enough to make the catch.
Alan Cordoba took over at shortstop. 21-year-old Rule 5 pick. Jabari Blash, another former Rule 5 pick of the Padres roster. Cordoba hitting .292 with a homer. We saw him out in left field several times last week at Petco Park. He's in at shortstop tonight. This was a guy who was playing rookie ball last year in the Cardinals system. Padres are trying to carry him on their big league roster all year as a Rule 5 pick. They like the skill set, but he's very raw and strikes out. 9 strikeouts for Corbin.
Yeah, unfortunately, coming from the Appalachian League to the big leagues, you're going to see breaking pitches like you've never seen before, and Cordoba's really had some issues with breaking balls.
Andrew Chafin warming up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. With Patrick approaching 100 pitches, here's Manuel Margot 0 for 3. .99 pitches, 66 strikes. Here's number 100. And Margot knocks it into right center. Pollock over to cut it off. Margot will settle for a single. He sits safely in 5 straight.
Third baseman, Corey Stengenberg.
Only 1 inning over 20 pitches. That was the 2nd inning when the Padres left the bases loaded. Otherwise, Patrick has been very efficient in the ball game tonight.
Starting his 4th time through the order now. Spangenberg 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Just called up from AAA Paso before the game today. Christian Bethancourt sent down to the minor leagues. Padres needed some kind of answer at third base, where Ryan Schimpf has batted .102 this year. Spangenberg's been tearing it up at El Paso in the Coast League. Hitting just about .350 down there this year. Knocks it the other way for his first base hit this year. So a home run, then a pair of 1-out singles for the Padres against Corbin, with Chafin warming up in the bullpen.
First baseman, Will Myers.
Will Myers. This is where it got interesting last night when the Diamondbacks had a big league, the 7th inning. And it was Myers who had that 3-run homer against Silvino Bracho. Diamondbacks wound up winning that game 7-6. So here's Myers again with 1 run in, 2 on and 1 out. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Ahmed calling for it. Infield fly rule. 2 down.
Big out right there, but one more big one to get here in the 7th inning. We've talked a lot about Torey Lovullo and his mantra, give me 21 outs. Patrick Corbin needs one more to reach that 21 out plateau.
Well, Solarte had 3 hits last night, all singles. He's 3 for 3 tonight, all singles. 2 on and 2 outs. Patrick went 6 innings last week at Petco Park. Gave up 3 runs on 5 hits. Margot at second and Spanchenberg at first. A run in on the Blosh homer. Chafin is ready in the bullpen. Tap to third. Descalso has it. And Patrick Corbin strands 2, gets through 7 with a 9-2 lead. Rays, 7 innings, only 2 runs. Patrick struck out 9. And we don't want to forget here, BB. There's Rodrigo Lopez on the right, but Oscar Soria on the left. It's Oscar's birthday today.
All right.
47. He's hiding behind the monitors. There he is.
Final de la entrada 7 con el partido 9-2 ganando los Arizona Diamondbacks a los Padres de San Diego. Qué gusto, mira, se me hace que están hablando de ti, Rodrigo, hoy en la televisión, ¿eh?
Sí, jugué con los Padres de San Diego.
El gusto.
I know exactly what they were saying. So happy birthday to the great Oscar Soria. Chris Iannetta leads off the 7th.
Well, how about this, partner? Yeah, one of the new stats we pay a lot of attention to is exit velocity. How fast does the ball come off a hitter's bat? Goldie hit a home run over the left field foul pole earlier in the game, was 105 off the bat. His double to left field on a hanging breaking ball was 108 off the bat. But the hardest hit ball for a D-backs hitter tonight was the line drive to center field for an out by Chris Iannetta, 109.
He smoked it in the 5th inning. It was right after the Descalso homer, but he hit it right at Manuel Margot. So Chris, the only starter without a hit so far. D-backs have 9 runs on 13 hits. He's ahead 2-1.
He looks hitterish to me tonight. I don't know. I think something big might happen here.
All right.
Oh, don't swing it.
You jinxed him. 2-2.
Diaz must have heard me.
You put the whammy on AJ last night.
Yeah.
Spangenberg at third gets up and fires a bullet to throw out Iannetta, who should have, by all rights, 2 hits tonight. Corey Spangenberg at third, his first big league game this year.
Pretty good looking play for a guy that came up as a second baseman, about 3 steps and a dive. He's right on the foul line, deep behind the bag at third.
Now you're starting to figure out what Andy Green saw this spring. Spangenberg and Schimpf last year played a lot of second base, but in spring training, Andy said, you know what, I kind of like both of those guys over at third better, and Solarte at second better. And Solarte prefers to play second base. He had played third last year, so he switched everybody around. Schimpf got the first crack at the third base job. He has not hit at all, and so Spangenberg got called up today. Here's Nick Ahmed, who's got 2 singles. He scored 2 runs. Right to Cordoba at shortstop, 2 down. Jeremy Hazelbaker will bat for Patrick Corbin, so Patrick's not will end right here.
Well, what a good night it was for Patrick Corbin once again. Just continues to put good outing after good outing.
Hazelbaker hitting .350 with 4 RBIs.
Corbin, number 41, Jeremy.
There's Patrick. 2 runs on 8 hits in 7 innings. He walked 2 and struck out 9. Very solid. Also had 2 beautiful sacrifice bunts up at the plate. Patrick finished at 105 pitches tonight. 0-1 on Hazelbaker.
71 strikes.
You like that?
Wow. Patrick threw a lot of sliders tonight. 39, 29 of them for strikes. Wow.
He's been kind of the hard luck guy so far. He's pitched a lot better than his record indicates. Had some defensive errors behind him. Didn't get a whole lot of run support in his start at San Diego last week. He only scored 1 run. So his record should be a lot better than it is, but he's in line for his 2nd win of the year tonight.
How about the D-backs offense this year? Currently in the major leagues, and I say currently because that game is still going on in Colorado, but the Diamondbacks have scored the most runs. They have the most hits, tied with the Reds for the most stolen bases. They've grounded into the fewest double plays, tied with the Cardinals, and a perfect 4 for 4 in sacrifice bunt attempts this year.
They scored 9 runs tonight without 2 of their hottest hitters, Peralta and Lamb, in the lineup. Hazelbaker strikes out, and that ends the 7th inning. D-backs lead the Padres 9-2. 2. It's draft week on FS1. Skip and Shannon deliver inside opinion and predictions for every player and every team in the whole draft. All by themselves, including what the Cardinals should be doing with their picks. It's undisputed draft week. 6:30 in the morning on FS1. The left-hander Andrew Chafin on to start the 8th inning. D-backs about hit the Padres 13-8. They lead at 9-2.
A nice start to the year for Andrew Chafin. 6 innings pitched, surrendered only 3 base hits and 1 earned run. 5 strikeouts, a couple of walks.
Our Ashline call to the bullpen. There's that ERA 1.50, his 10th appearance of the year. He's got that sheriff mustache going again. I mean, that is a Wild West movie sheriff mustache.
Sure is.
That's the kind of guy who's trying to round up a posse with that mustache. Hunter Renfroe, 0 for 3.
Instead of a warm-up jacket, Andrew Chafin ought to have one of those long black duster jackets, you know, that the
sure,
Cowboys used to wear.
Wyatt Earp.
Coming out of the bullpen, riding on the back of a horse.
I'm in my prime. Don't hit Jake Lamb.
Don't hit any of those guys for that matter.
Exactly. Those guys are all killing it right now. A lot of run support for Patrick Corbin tonight. That's something new for Patrick, actually. We talked about that. He's been kind of their hard luck starter. Not the case tonight. Patrick, in his first 4 starts while he was in the game, received a total of 10 runs of support. Jeremy Hazelbaker in right field now. So Owings gets the rest of the night off. First 4 starts, 10 runs in support. Tonight he got 9. A lot easier to pitch that way, I'm guessing.
Oh, sure. Although the stuff he had tonight, you get the feeling that even in a scoreless game, Patrick was going to be dealing tonight. Boy, he had good stuff again.
Had a real good spring and has sort of quietly had a very good April, Patrick Corbin. Came into the game tonight just 1-3 with a 3.27 ERA. There's Corey Spangenberg, his first big league game. Called up from AAA El Paso today. Just got his first hit. 2-2 now on Hunter Renfroe. That Rockies game's getting wild, as you predicted. Washington leading now 10-5 at Coors Field over the Rockies. They're in the 7th. Clayton Kershaw still in there for the Dodgers at San Francisco. LA leads that one 2-1, 7th inning. Renfroe drives one pretty deep center field. A.J. Pollock will have to play it off the wall. And Hunter Renfroe, a leadoff double. So he's hit safely in 5 straight.
I'm sure that's something Andy Green and Alan Zinter and the rest of the Padres coaching staff wishes they would see more of from Hunter Renfroe. This is a big, strong kid.
Oh, yeah.
He can hit the ball out to any part of the ballpark, but occasionally he gets a little pull happy, tries to hit everything to left field. I'm sure that's a welcome sight for Andy Green to see him hit that ball to straightaway center like that.
I mentioned all the Rule 5 picks that San Diego is carrying. Blash was a Rule 5er last year. They have 2 on the roster this year, 2 new ones. Cordoba, who's in there at shortstop now, and here is Luis Torrens, who will hit for Austin Hedges. Torrens 1 for 8 at the plate to start his major league career. Had that 1 hit and first RBI against the D-backs at Petco Park last week. He's 20 years old, Luis Torrens, 3 seasons in the Yankees minor league system. Had never played above A ball as a professional. And suddenly here he is in the big leagues. One of 4 catchers on the Padres roster. Well, 3 now that Bethancourt is down. So a chance for Luis Torrens to get an at-bat or 2.
Torrens' calling card, looking at his minor league numbers, obviously throwing out attempted base stealers. In 2013, he threw out over 45%. 2014, 39%. And in 2016, 41%. Missed the entire 2015 season with labrum surgery.
He's from Venezuela, hit .250 in A-ball last year in the Yankees system, played mostly at Staten Island. Yankees waived him in December. He was picked up by Cincinnati and then flipped in a trade to the Padres. Fly ball right field. Hazelbaker's there. Renfroe will head for third.
You mentioned that Nationals Rockies game taking place at Coors Field. The hits just keep coming. Daniel Murphy with a gapper to left center with the bases loaded. That's going to roll all the way to the wall.
Rockies will be in here for a 3-game series starting on Friday. If that score holds, the Diamondbacks will only be a half game out of first in the NL West. They're a game and a half right now behind Colorado. Luis Sardinas, who was their primary shortstop last year, lost out to Eric Ibar for that job in spring training this year. He'll hit for the pitcher. Pitcher spot is 7th in the Padre order. So Sardinas 4 for 24 this year. He singled as a pinch hitter last night. Sardinas was acquired by the Padres in the middle of August last year in a trade with Seattle. Did a nice job for them at shortstop, but they decided to go with Ibar in spring training. And Sardinas had just about 100 at bats with the Padres last year, hit nearly .290, and did a pretty good job. But he's only 23, and they went with the veteran Ibar. Hunter Renfroe at third with 1 out. No 1-1 count on Luis Sardinas. Dunks one into right field. This will get Renfroe home. An RBI single for Sardinas, and it's 9-3. Here's Jabari Blash, who hit a sky-high homer to the left field for his first major league hit this year. Just over the outstretched glove of Yasmani Tomas in left. He's also walked twice tonight.
Yasmani gave it a good attempt out there in left field, but it appeared that his glove hit the fence as he was reaching up to try to make that play. And Diamondbacks fans have very bad memories of Steve Finley doing the same thing at Shea Stadium in center field. Got too close to the wall when Finns went to make his jump on the Todd Pratt drive. He just couldn't get up high enough to make the catch. And the same thing happened to Yasmani right there. Caught his glove on the top of the fence and just couldn't get to the spot.
So Blash 1 for 12 this year with that hit. He was called up for the minors yesterday. He had been up for about a week or so earlier this year. Well, Chafin a double by Renfroe. Got Torrens to fly out. Sardinas singled now behind on Blash, 3-0. There's another Rule 5er. Alan Cordoba, the shortstop, on deck. Well, there's a lot of people that tell you one of the things that's wrong with baseball are the 3 true outcomes. Blosh is the poster child for
yes,
that.
He is.
Everything's either a walk, a strikeout, or a home run. And he's got a walk, a strikeout, and a home run.
You know, we just showed you that Yasmani Tomas attempt on the Blash home run earlier in the ball game, and immediately after the inning, his teammates are giving it to him. Watch Patrick Corbin tell him he got that high off the ground. He got that high off the ground.
Well, Patrick can dunk, so he ought to know.
And then Dave McKay comes over and says, listen, when you back into the wall, you have no mobility. Try to turn your body to the side.
Yeah. Oh, he got up there.
Yeah.
It's got some hops. Corbin, all right, Corbin had all right, maybe a little more than I gave you, but not much. Here's Cordova.
That's a great scene right there. You know, having a little fun with it, but yet at the end, hey, next time try it this way instead of that way. I know some starting pitchers that wouldn't have been quite so forgiving.
Kevin Quackenbush making his requisite appearance against the Diamondbacks. Squib shot foul, and it's 1-2.
Boy, and thanks to Kevin Kellogg, one of our fine camera guys. They know what to look for. You know, Yasmani made that play out there in left field, or nearly made that play in left field. And there you are, Kevin. Attaboy.
Those new knees are working out just fine.
Yes, they are.
Thumbs up.
Can't jump anymore, but that's all right. You're not in pain.
Great to have him back. We missed Kev for a while last year.
Our guys know the game, and they see things happen on the field, and they anticipate what's going to happen when guys get back to the dugout, or infielders coming together in the middle of the field to talk about something. Outfielders communicating to each other in the outfield from pitch to pitch. Our guys are all over. Chafin working hard here in this 8th inning. Next pitch will be number 26.
Gonna need at least one more. Full count on Cordova, 3-2. Cordova's coming off back-to-back batting titles. The only thing was they were an A-ball. Gulf Coast League, then the Appalachian League. He's the Rule 5 pick. Cardinals didn't protect him, thinking, well, nobody's going to take him. He's an A-ball. Well, Padres liked him and took him in that Rule 5 draft. Got to keep him on the roster all year. Bounced up the middle. High hop for Ahmed. Nice job by Goldie to keep his foot on the bag. Padres get one. We'll head to the bottom of the game. It's 9-3 D-backs.
And counting, we can talk home runs, offense, I get it, but you want to start or at least get to Patrick Corbin's night, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He had another great start, had the fastball working, but to me, again, it was a slider. It was outstanding, both sides of the plate, bounced it, had 9 strikeouts again, had it all working, but again, a total team effort, scored runs all over the board. Great game so far.
We'll have lots of talk about the bridge being built from Zach Greinke to Patrick Corbin, game 1 and 2. Guys, bring it home. Steve, back to you.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Webby. Our Gila River game summary. There are the numbers for Patrick Corbin. 2 runs, 8 hits, and 7. He had 9 strikeouts. A.J. Pollock will lead off the bottom of the 8th against the new pitcher, Kevin Quackenbush. Just called up from AAA El Paso as his 2nd stint with the Padres this year. You know, I know that Webby, speaking of Webby, took over the Fox Sports Arizona Twitter account. And I saw some things, BB, that frankly were very disturbing.
Really?
Yeah, they were trying to pick out an avatar for Webby to use on the Twitter, and this was one option. How about those red pants?
Wow.
I don't know what's going on there.
Goodness.
That was one of them. He looks good as a blonde, though. And there was the other with the full superhero outfit. I think, you know, in the post-game show, maybe you and Todd can get to the bottom of this.
That's very unsettling.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't unsee that. Halloween costume or something.
No, that's the way Webby dresses every
Oh,
morning.
Is that it on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Prince Valiant.
Good call. Webby, what's the deal?
Yeah, I thought that picture was locked in a vault somewhere. I was really pulling for the red pants. I'm actually sporting those tonight.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh wow, it's a shame you're sitting down.
I know. I thought I was going to do a side set just to get those shown tonight.
It's like the Bud Collins of Fox Sports Arizona. 3-2 now to A.J. Pollock. What was the Halloween? Was that Halloween? Or?
That was Halloween. My wife's big time into that, so she looks good, obviously, and she's like, well, people love this.
Yeah, there's another picture of you and your wife.
Yeah, she looks good.
Wait, was that Flash Gordon or something?
That was He-Man and She-Ra.
He-Man and She-Ra.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't get those mixed up.
Now here it is, Webby.
Yeah.
This is now what's happening here.
Well, that's before we went out, just showing off our things. I'm sure she put those on Facebook. I'm looking like a dork there.
Are those your abs? Those are your abs, right?
Absolutely. I worked really hard right before that.
You got the 6-pack going. Sure.
Guns and everything. Oh yeah.
All right, Webby. Thanks. Chris Herman now, pitcher spot 2nd in the D-backs order. So here's Herman. Well, you managed him. I mean, did you ever see any signs of that?
No, thank goodness.
Chris has had a hot bat lately. He's hit safely in 3 straight. Homered in Saturday's win over the Dodgers when he started at catcher. Had an RBI single last night in the win over the Padres when he started at first base. There's Ross Miller. Ross going to have to run to get that one. Silvino Bracho trying to put last night's outing behind him. He'll get the 9th inning. Bracho last night gave up 4 runs, got only 1 out in a very bumpy 7th inning. So Silvino a chance to erase that from the memory banks tonight. Although the Diamondbacks will have to make a roster move, I believe, right? Because Zach Godley's going to start tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll see what they do. Godley starts tomorrow in Shelby Miller's spot. Everyone else is pushed back. So Taijuan Walker goes Thursday, and then Robbie Ray Friday against the Rockies. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Zach Godley tomorrow against former Diamondback great Trevor Cahill.
Cahill, another ground ball pitcher when he's at his best, throwing that heavy sinker down in the zone. Occasional slider, occasional changeup.
Zach was just named a Pacific Coast League Pitcher of the Week. And a very good outing for Reno. So Godley and Cahill tomorrow. Here's Goldie. Goldie is a triple shy of the cycle. He homered in the first, had an RBI single in the second, walked in the fourth, and had an RBI double in the sixth. Seems like every time we play the Padres, Kevin Quackenbush pitches.
And usually pitches pretty well.
Yeah. Although he had a rough spring and has spent some time in the minors this year. 4 appearances for El Paso. His ERA was almost 5.5 there. Now in his 4th season with San Diego. Last year had career highs with 7 wins. He worked nearly 60 innings. Goldie going for the cycle. 3-1.
Given the fact we see Kevin Quackenbush so much, Goldie would like to get on the board against him. He's 0 for 5 lifetime with 3 strikeouts. He has drawn 3 walks against Quackenbush.
Tomas would be next. Nationals now lead the Rockies 15-5 at Coors. Trey Turner has 7 RBIs in that game for the Nationals. Washington up 15-5 in the 7th. Dodgers still lead the Giants in San Francisco 2-1. They're in the 8th. Goldie knocks it into center. 5 plate appearances. He's got 4 hits and a walk.
And on the board against Kevin Quackenbush. Boy, that was a rope back up the middle of the field.
Left fielder, Yasmani Tomas.
Oh,
throw him that pitch all day, please.
That ball knuckling back through the middle of the field. Goldie's eyes were getting wider and wider as that pitch got close to the hitting zone and ripped it up the middle.
Yasmani Tomas. Yasmani walked in the 1st, singled in the 4th, had an RBI sac fly in the 6th. Base hit. A pair of 2-out singles will bring up Brandon Drury. Second hit tonight for Tomas, both to right field.
Second baseman, Brandon.
Drury's already had a 2-hit night. He has singled and doubled.
Double came deep to the gap in right center field out near the 413 mark. Really drove the ball to the opposite field well.
D-backs with this win would improve to 14-8 on the year and move within a half game of Colorado for the division lead, which doesn't mean a whole lot obviously on April 25th, but the more days you spend at or near first place, the better. Two balls and 1 strike on Brandon Drury. In the hole. That's by Sardinius. Córdoba tries the Jeter jump throw, and the D-backs have the bases loaded. 3rd hit tonight for Drury. An infield single.
Nowhere to go. Nice job by Córdoba just to get to that ball, keep it in the infield, but you can see the 3rd baseman cut in front of him. He's got no play at 3rd. Would have been a very awkward attempt to throw back to 2nd. His really only option was to try that jump throw across the infield, and it was far too late.
So they're loaded for Descalso, who homered in the 5th, his 1st of the year. Now 16 hits for the Diamondbacks. Goldie at third, Yasmani Tomas at second, Brandon Drury at first. One and one.
I know you mentioned Trey Turner a moment ago with his, what, 7 RBI?
Yeah.
Well, hit for the cycle as well.
Oh.
The 9th cycle in Expos/Nationals history. Tripled in the 7th inning.
15-7 now. The Nationals lead the Rockies in the 7th, of course. Speaking of the Nationals, we'll be there next week in Washington, D.C. Play 3 against the Rockies this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then after that ball game Sunday, we fly to the nation's capital for 3 against the Nationals at Nats Park, and then 3 more at Coors Field. And we come back to host the Tigers, the Pirates, and the Mets. Descalso squibs one to shortstop, but Cordoba has it. And we'll head to the 9th inning. D-backs lead at 9-3. Silvino Bracho coming in. To 3. They about hit San Diego 16-10. Hey fans, you can't catch the games on your TV. You can catch them on your mobile device. Just download the Fox Sports Go app. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers, and you can take Fox Sports Arizona and your Diamondbacks with you wherever you go. Silvino Bracho called up for the minors before the ball game yesterday. Had a rough time of it in the 7th inning last night, when he gave up 4 runs and only got 1 out. He's on to work the 9th.
I'm sure this is the situation that Torlavello and Mike Butcher were looking for. Comfortable lead, get Bracho right back out there on the mound once again. We talk about it in reference to closers. The best attribute you can have is a short memory. Really, it goes for any relief pitcher. You have to be able to let a bat out and go and come back the next day and execute your pitches.
So Bracho answers the Ashline call to the bullpen. Chris Herman stays in the game. He takes over in right field. Jeremy Hazelbaker moves over to center, replacing A.J. Pollock. Margot singled his last time up. He's 1 for 4. Brandon Webb and Todd Wall standing by. Diamondback Live post-game show right after our ball game. Webby will break down Patrick Corbin's night. Hazelbaker in for Pollock in center, and Herman in right. Pitcher spot now first for the Diamondbacks. Fastball is a strike, and it's 2-1. Bracho had been pitching very well for Reno in the Coast League. 6 appearances for the Aces. He'd worked 6 2/3, given up only 4 hits, 1 walk and 12 strikeouts. So he'd been pitching very well, had a couple of saves. But behind on Margot, 3-1. He walked the leadoff man last night. There it's a strike, and it's a full count, 3-2. Bracho walked Jabari Blash. Ibar reached on an error. And Sardinius had a single. Margot reached safely, and then Myers had a 3-run homer. Check swing foul. Bracho last year at times had a difficult season at this level. A 7.30 ERA in 26 appearances with the Diamondbacks. And these two would have seen plenty of each other, with Bracho at Reno and Margot at AAA El Paso. Got him. Silvino Bracho humps it up to 94. 1 down in the 9th.
All fastballs that time to Margot. The last one up in the top of the zone at 94. A little better start tonight for Silvino Bracho,
I'll say. Bracho would have faced Spangenberg in the minors as well. Spangenberg just got called up from El Paso. He's 1 for 4 with a single. Struck out 3 times against Patrick Corbin. Another fastball from Bracho, and it's 0-1. Diamondbacks win would get to 14-8. They would be 6 games over 500. It's been a while. Last time the D-backs were 6 over 500, August of 2013. They won at Cincinnati 5-2. Patrick Corbin threw a complete game. That's in there for a strike. D-backs would also improve to 10-2 here at Chase Field this year. Last time they did that, 2008. Fly ball center field. Hazelbaker's out there onto the warning track. 2 down.
Well, a chance to end this ball game with the guy that hurt him the most in the game last night. Will Myers with a long home run on a hanging changeup from Bracho. Yeah, he knew it all right. Woo. If you're going to give him up, give up big ones. And Mike Butcher immediately grabbed Bracho when he got back to the dugout, arm around the shoulder. I'm sure he told him, hey, we're going to get you back in there as soon as we can. Keep your head up.
You know, he had to be tremendously disappointed after getting off to such a great start at Reno. So round 2, Bracho and Myers. There's a ball. Got some zip on that fastball tonight.
Pretty good fastball hitter. Challenges him with a 94-mile-an-hour heater on the inside part of the plate. That time blew it right by him.
play. 2-2. Solarte, who has 3 hits tonight, would be next. D-backs trying to make it 2 in a row over the Padres. Get to 4-1 on this 10-game homestand. Talked about at the beginning of this season how important it was to get off to a good start, with the Diamondbacks playing 24 their first 27 against the National League West. Well, it would be hard to ask for a better start from Torey Lovullo's club. They have risen to the occasion. Another 2-2 to Will Myers. Got him! Silvino Bracho, 2 strikeouts and a 1-2-3 ninth. And the Diamondbacks win it 9-3. They are 10-2 at home at Chase Field for the first time since 2008. They improved to 14-8, 6 over 500 for the first time since August of 2013.
All wonderful numbers, all great things to hear about the ball club. The thing I'm most impressed with tonight and last night was the adjustment that the offense was able to make against 2 pitchers that had really done well against them in San Diego. Back-to-back nights, the D-backs chased the starter out of the game for the Padres.
Yeah, Clayton Richard did not survive the 4th inning, and the D-backs have won the first 2 games of this 4-game set. They improved to 4-1 halfway through this 10-game homestand. A lot to talk about. Webby is standing by with Todd Walsh. Todd.
Steve, thank you very much, and we have so much to get to. I want to get to the story of Bracho. I know you were the starter and the ace, the #1, and you didn't have to really deal with it. But the best part about baseball, especially for a pitcher that comes in situations like that, is to be able to come out the day after you let it get away and do what he just did, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Good for him being able to come back after that. You saw Butch in there with his arm around him last night after the game, trying to console him. Gets him right back in tonight. Gets his feet wet again. Has a good taste in his mouth, leaving this game.
And this is just another sign of the confidence of this group here too. I think to be able to pick each other up as well. We've seen it all year long. 9-3 your final in game 2 of this 4-game series. Our coverage continues here at Fox Sports Arizona. We'll come back in a matter of moments and kick it off with Diamondbacks Live. We'll get to Jody Jackson on the field, Bob Brentley up in the booth, Torey Lovullo's post-game remarks, and inside the clubhouse we will go. We'll do all that when we come back right after this.